Welcome to the channel. My name is Ashley and this is my sweet perspective. Hey, sweet peas. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, all of the people who have their mothers, and to those who don't, because I don't. I hope that you made the best out of this day and found a way to occupy your time. This is historically not a good weekend, not a good day for me, but I watched something last night, stayed up all night and watched it, in fact. And yeah, I had to come talk about it. So pardon my appearance, pardon the location, but this is what I can give today, okay? But I am back to talk about Ultimatum, South Africa. Now, let me just give you a brief history, all right? Because I watched my first season of Ultimatum last season. Nasty work, okay? But I loved every second of it. It was messy. When Tyra from Struggle Reviews TV was like, Ashley, have you watched Ultimatum South Africa? It came out Friday. I said, it's on my spreadsheet, but I wasn't going to watch it immediately. She said, you might need to watch it. Sat up, popped some popcorn, and baby was up all night watching this tomfoolery. This is one of the best dating reality shows that I have seen. It's in the top tier level. But without further ado, let me tell you how this video is going to go, and we're going to get right into it. I'm going to go couple by couple. Okay, I'm going to let you know who requested the ultimatum, and I'll explain the premise of the show. And then we'll go with who they chose, right, for their fake trial marriages. And then what happened in the big reveal in episode 9. Okay, so the premise of the ultimatum, if you don't know, is that you're with a partner and you or that partner are ready to get married and the other one is not. And so you bring them on this show. You're basically going to marry me or it's a wrap, but I'm going to give you a shot, right? To see if you can make it work with somebody else. Messy in and of itself. Okay. Messy, messy, messy. So now we're in South Africa, and I'll start with probably the least problematic couple. And honestly, I questioned why this couple was there. That might not be right of me, but I did. And I probably need to look into race relations in South Africa now, post-apartheid. I know we're, some decades out, but I know some things still run deep. So I was curious about this couple. I'm talking about Courtney and Aiden, who've been together for 7 years. 7, you heard me. You heard me. And these people are young. I think late 20s, like 27 to 30, that range, okay? And Aiden just isn't ready. He felt like he just wasn't secure. He wasn't confident enough. They seem like nice people, okay? They seem nice. But I didn't think that they were going to fully participate in the experiment, and they didn't really, not in my opinion. Let's go to Tabby and Genesis. I love Tabby. The girls this season, I absolutely adored most of them. Okay. But Tabby, I adored. Genesis, I felt like was playing games. They had also been together for 7 years, and Tabby issued this ultimatum. Okay. His big excuse was he couldn't pay her lobola. Am I pronouncing that right? My South African sweet peas, let me know. But basically a dowry, right? He had to come up with, whatever monies to pay for her hand in marriage, as is custom, right? And she's like, well, you can find money for everything else that you want in this life. So what is the real deal? Okay. And so he's open to the experiment. But yeah, I don't know. The vibes I got from him were a little bit lackluster, no shade, a very handsome man. I don't know. I just didn't feel any deep connection, but we'll get into it because my feelings about him did change as the season progressed. Okay. Honey, next we have Lindile and Caesar, right? And I adored both of them. I feel like she got a bad rap this season because of her like nervous laughter, but I get it. There were some uncomfortable situations, but they've been together for 6 months, honey. And Lindile issued the ultimatum, honey, because he saw her and he said, you're my wife and I want you. And she was taking the road of like, I don't want a husband. I don't want to be married. I like I like what it is. And so he brought her on this show because baby, you're my wife. You're my wife. And I really like Lindile. Lindile is one of the guys that I really, really, really just adored this season. Okay, next we have Ruth and Isaac. Now, people might get mad, but I like Ruth. I like Ruth, and we'll get into all the details of it, but I stand Ruth, you know what I mean? And she is married to, or not married, but she has been dating Isaac for 2 years, but it's been long distance. Their big thing was that he refused to introduce her to his family, which basically meant he's not sure of her, because in their culture, he says that you only bring a woman home when you know that she's your wife. And so she just really wanted, you know, him to bring laughter to the relationship. She said she felt like it was just so dry and boring, honey. When we meet her family and friends, one of them says that when they would get busy, honey, she couldn't feel it. Which explains so much as we get into it. But again, 2 years, and she's the one who issued the ultimatum. Now we have Kana and Nkateko. Nkateko. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. AKA K. That was like his nickname, okay? And they have been together, Nkateko. Yes, they have been together for 1 year. And Kanya issued the ultimatum. He's just not really ready to marry her. I think he wants to be more secure. But outside of that, we discover that Kanya has some real issues. Okay, so we get to the mixer and everyone's getting along and they're kind of, you know, mixing and mingling. And now we have to figure out who's next. And I'm sorry. No, I forgot one couple, Lebo and Nola. Okay. And we'll get into them because this was dramatic, honey, but they have been together for 1.5 years and Lebo issued the ultimatum. She wants to marry him. She feels like that's her husband. She's so in love with him. And she says, listen, this is it. If you're not going to do it now, you know, you're not going to do it. And he purports to love her. You know what I mean? Okay, so now we get to the mixer, and I won't discuss everything at the mixer because it was a little bit dry. But the thing was, they met at the mixer and went on a couple group dates, and then they make their decision. And so basically the woman would say who they wanted, and the guy would be like, okay, I want you or not. I'm not going to get into all that because I didn't even take notes, honey. I was just so enthralled by the story. And so Courtney ends up getting with Genesis, okay? Caesar gets with Kay. Lindile gets with Tabby. All right. Aiden gets with Lebo. And Ruth gets with Nola. Ciao. And Kana gets with Isaac. Okay. Those are the matches. So let's start with, Kana and Isaac. Okay. Like I said, character flaws. This woman has the worst attitude that I've ever seen on national television. I mean, from the opening, she's going in on people. She's like, yeah, he's boring. He's not it. Like, this ain't, no. Why is he even talking to me? I'm bored. And so basically when she makes her choice, she's basically like, yeah, I picked Isaac because he's the only one that didn't bore me to tears. Okay. And so he's kind of enamored of her because all quiet is kept. Kana is not a bad looking woman. Okay. And so, he's going to try to make it work. He's being super thoughtful. He's cleaning the kitchen. He's washing the dishes and she likes it. They're vibing. They even share a kiss, a booty grab, all of that. Right. And then all of a sudden it's like a switch clicked, right? Because he's coming home from work. Dishes are dirty. He's like, did you have company over? Why are there 4, 5, 6 plates in the sink? And she's like, did I ask you to wash the dishes? Baby, this is when we start to see that other side. And one thing about it, 2 things for sure, she's not backing down from a fight. She likes it. All right. And so they're into it and she's mad. She says he's not the one because they had to go 50-50 on groceries. And if he can't afford to buy all the groceries for the household, you know, and she said after that, he hasn't even brought it up or addressed it. And she said, I'm not about to feed him. Okay. And he's basically saying, you know, what's wrong with 50-50? She in basically asking her what she brings. She's like, what do you mean? What do I bring to the table? If I have to give a response, I'm going to say I am the table. But basically you're a broke boy. I don't like you. This is never going to be anything. Very nasty, so rude. Okay. And Isaac, he can't handle it. Baby, he's done. He's got to walk out because it gets hot and heated and she's a very disrespectful person. Very disrespectful person. So ultimately, of course, they decide that it's not going to work. And we'll get back to it because there's even more. Again, Aiden and Labo, they are besties. Okay. Like they are just flat out besties. He has no romantic interest in her. She has no romantic interest in him because in her mind, she nor Nola are going to be doing anything with anybody else. Okay. Like that's just not the vibes. She's there just for the experience of it. And again, girl, that's not the experience, but whatever. So she and Aiden be spying on people, like just doing the absolute most because Labo admittedly is insecure. And I see why, dealing with Nola, and we'll get to that. Courtney and Genesis. Genesis is wanting the full experience and Courtney's not having it. And again, I don't want to say it's anything more nefarious, but again, I didn't think Courtney and Aiden were going to be in for the real process. And they weren't. Okay. And so Genesis is frustrated because he wanted the experience, right? And he really didn't get that. I guess what he did get is that he wants his woman. Okay. He wants Tabby back. Next, let's go to Caesar and Kay. Now, they hit it off immediately. I thought that this trial marriage was so beautiful. It's like she spoke to him in a way that he was receptive to, and vice versa. He says that he was so used to pouring out of his cup and never being poured into. And when he met Caesar, that was completely different. And when I tell you they took it to the next level, honey, they was out and about. He was picking her up, in front of everybody. And, Lindile was having an attitude about it. He said, why he on my girl like that? Okay. And of course they're basically in love. Okay. Is what I felt like. And so throughout this situation, they are still having group meetings with the other ladies. The guys are meeting with the guys. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, so their connection was amazing. Then we have Lindile and Tabby. And again, a beautiful connection. They spoke to each other on a level that both understood and loved. And I think it was a positive experience for both of them. For both of them, I really feel like that. Now we have Ruth and Nola, who immediately hit it off. Immediately both were attracted, honey, and immediately both hopped in that bed together and got bucky naked multiple times. She said not once, not twice, not thrice. That means multiple infinity times they were getting busy on the regular. Do you hear me? Okay. Because again, Ruth felt like she wasn't getting what she needed in her relationship. And in this show, The Ultimatum, you break up. You break up with your person to do this trial marriage for these 3 to 4 weeks, right? And so, Ruth and he are having an amazing time. He's telling her these sweet nothings, Nola, and she's eating it up. Okay. She is literally eating it up, sopping it up with a biscuit. But honey, we find out it's all lies. And so, like I alluded to earlier, ever so often the girls meet with the girls and the guys meet with the guys, and they want to see how life is going with the other partner. Let's start with the ladies. So, Kay is Kanye's ex-man, right? And he's with Caesar. And so kind of immediately is on Caesar's head. It's a full out attack. You're fat, you're ratchet, you're a hood rat, you're this. If you guys are having sex, it's just because he's desperate for sex because I haven't had sex with him since September. He's fake laughing with you. I hear him and it's nothing, you're useless. You're fake, just like he's fake. Like, I mean, to the nth degree. We know that Courtney ain't had nothing to say because nothing was going on with Genesis. We know Labo didn't have anything to say because nothing was going on there. And Tabby and Caesar are pretty just cool. You know what I mean? Pretty cool. But everyone in this moment is looking at kind of like, you're out of control. You're a bully. You're a bully. That's what you are. Okay. And Ruth ain't really worried either. She's not worried about Isaac. She's not. But, they ask everyone, is anyone been intimate? Has anyone got busy? And everyone's basically like, no, hinting around about it. And finally, Ruth is like, I feel awful. I can't hold this to myself any longer. I need to sit down and I need to talk to Lebo alone. Okay. And so the other women leave and she goes and talks to Leba and she's like, listen, me and Nola got busy. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but multiple times. Lebo's like, thank you for this information. I need to go talk to Nola. Okay. Meanwhile, simultaneously, the guys are all meeting and same thing, but Nola's gonna lie. Baby, a lie don't care who tell it, and Nola is a confirmed liar, master manipulator, and to me, not even too good at it. I will say there's something, he has some kind of charisma, honey, but the lies. Because of course, Isaac says, you do anything with my woman? Did you bang my woman? Did you bang her out? No, man. No, we didn't cross any lines. We didn't do anything. Knowing they get busy every day, every night. Okay. And the other guys are sharing. And you guys have to help me in the comments below. Let me know. It seemed like some other people got intimate as well. But they made Ruth out to have the scarlet letter. Okay. And so, the guys are fine. They think it's cool. Everyone's going home to their respective couples' apartments, right? Honey, why does Lebo pop up on Nola and Ruth's apartment? And it's like, Nola, you lying now. You lie, baby. They run all around these apartments. Aiden is playing referee. He's like, man, I think you just need to let her go. Let her have some time. Label's like, no, we need to get it out. And so Nola, being Nola, said, Ruth, since you blew up my spot, right? Because why'd you tell her anything? Why'd you tell her a secret? I'm going to tell Isaac. Honey, then Isaac is on his way, kicking off them sandals, ready to go to blows. Okay? It's bad. Nola's denying. Finally, he just admits it, and Label's like, I'm done. I'm not doing anything further. They pack their bags and they end up leaving. Okay? Ruth and Isaac now have to have this conversation, and this is why I respect Ruth. Do I like what she did? No. Do I think they should have talked about boundaries before? Absolutely. But she said, I apologize that you found out this way, and I apologize that you're hurt, but I'm not sorry for what I did. I wanted to get busy with Nola, and that is what I did. Take it or leave it, bub. You weren't doing for me when this was a little bit deflecting. You weren't giving me what I needed. Okay. And so he was in the moment. He gave me what I needed, and okay. So again, Nola and Lebo are now gone. Ruth is going to be in her apartment alone until the end of this week. And so is Aiden. Aiden says he's tried to reach out to Lebo, but there's been no response. And I mean, I understand. Again, Caesar and Kay are amazing. Lindile and Tabby, amazing. Courtney and Genesis, they did yoga, and that's the first time they touched even, but still, it wasn't anything. Now it's time to switch back to their partners, okay? When I tell you the way Kanya treated Kay when he came back, she wouldn't even let the man sleep in the bed. She poured a bottle of wine on him, talked about his cheap shoes, said he needed to brush his teeth. Like, no breaks, okay? But honey, by week 2, they back in the bed together. He's back in love. And I said, he has battered man syndrome. Courtney talked to him very early on and said, listen, I don't think you guys are a good match. You're like her punching bag. And he pretended and acted like he received it, but did he really receive it? They have their back with their couples, all that. And so everyone's kind of just reeling. They say they're changed. They say they're different. Here comes Judgment Day, okay? Kanya and Kay. Tell me why this man gave her a promise ring and she wouldn't have it. She said, I've already compromised too much. I'm settling too much. If I settle for this promise ring, you're just going to keep making me settle. And he's like, look, we've got major issues that we still haven't addressed. She said, I said I was going to address them. Sis, no, you're not. You and those diabolical wigs are not trying to work anything out. Like, sad and scary therapy. Professionals is what should be needed and required. I'm just going to say that. Ruth and Isaac, Come to find out, he had a ring in his bag. He was going to propose after all. But after all was said and done, he said, I can't do this. And she said, me either. I'm glad you said that. You are not the man for me. They're going their separate ways. Good for them. Next, we have Courtney and Aiden, honey. He done bought a ring. He said, I've seen too much. I know you're my person. Let's get married. Talks to her parents, gets their permission, gets their blessing. They're going to be together. Tabby and Genesis, you know, he writes her a little love letter. If you want to marry me, check yes or no. Had a letter written to her family already, and I hope it had a check in there, buddy. But yeah, he proposed. He proposed. And she looked elated, and they look so happy together, and I'm happy for them. Lindile and Caesar. He loved that woman. He said, you're still my wife. Bump everything else that happened. I still want you. And she came all the way full circle and said, and I want to be your wifey. Got down on that knee, proposed, and the rest is history. They chose each other. Y'all, best 9 episodes of like a reality dating show that I have seen. I'm telling you, it was good. Watch it. Now we have to wait until May 24th for the reunion. Drop it in the comments below. Let me know what you thought. I know this was spoiler filled.